A police dog blocked a pilot from boarding his jet, delaying flights. Passenger anger, but security finally investigated under the cockpit seat. Before today's story, here's what they found that sent everyone fleeing. Please let us know where you're watching and if you like exceptional police dog stories like this. Subscribe to avoid missing the fluorescent. O'Hare International Airport Terminal 3's lights glow harshly. Officer Michael Reeves adjusted his winter patrol jacket, his breath apparent in the January chill. Automated doors tighten. His 3-year-old German Shepherd buddy maintains superb heel posture, his black gaze scrutinizing the steady stream of travelers with practice. Despite the weather, people rushed to their flights in the morning. Chicago overnight weather delays caused tension and anxiety. Just another day in paradise. Travelers watched departure boards. Flight crews rushed to minimize disruptions. Reeves scratched Titan's ear, leaned into his touch before starting vigilance. Reeves smiled, remembering how his colleagues Titan the professor was known for his unsettling analytical skills. They were one of the airport's most respected security dogs since they never barked without reason. They continued their scan into the international terminal. Titan gliding gracefully between baggage passengers every few minutes. He glanced at Reeves, their years of cooperation visible in their discreet conversation as they passed the luxury airline lounges. Titan's behavior suddenly changed, and Reeves noticed the Shepherd. His body tensed as he focused on a pilot confidently passing through crew security. The ID tag on lane captain James Harrington said he was heading. He slung his flying bag over one shoulder toward the flight deck preparation area. His outfit was spotless, and his approach was professional as he nodded to the Titan's posture, changed from normal patrol to tight alertness. The growl in his throat quickly turned into determined barking. Drew Reeves toward the pilot Titan heel, but first moment in their cooperation, Titan disregarded the Shepherd's instruction to rush forward, putting himself perfectly in the pilot's path. His barking startled everyone in. The Captain Harrington tried to walk around Titan, but Titan matched him physically. Stopping him from controlling your dog, officer, Harrington snapped, flushed with fury. I apologize for the stares. My international trip leaves in 40 minutes. Inconvenience, Captain Reeves remarked calmly while holding Titan's leash. My partner doesn't respond like this without reason. Harrington's jaw tightened. Your spouse is wrong. I've flown American Airlines for 15 years and don't have time for this airport. Despite the spectacle, security supervisor Diane Coleman maintained a professional demeanor. Reeves questioned gently what was happening in the packed terminal. Titan alerting firmly to the commander, Reeves said Titan was always focused on Harrington. I've never seen him so angry at airline staff. Stupid Harrington checked his watch. Flight 8862 to London was delayed. I have 243 passengers waiting to board Coleman due to the snowfall. Looked at the barking Shepherd and the irritated pilot officer Reeves. We can't postpone a flight. Because your dog is having an episode, Reeves feels the decision. Working with Titan for 3 years had taught him to trust the dog's instincts, which Titan hadn't. Not been mistaken when he spotted that concealed weapon last year, or the drug smuggler with surgical implants. Implants 2 months ago, I'm asking a secondary screening for Captain Harrington. Reeves stated routinely, not random. Harrington enables random security checks of all personnel, including flight crew. I'm phoning the airline operations center because of harassment. As the pilot reached for his phone, Reeves saw Harrington tremble, which increased his determination. He tightened his eyes for the first time in terror, perhaps resentment at being delayed, but that wasn't typical of innocent airline personnel. Please join us for a random screening, sir. Short extra check, Coleman remarked, reaching her decision. We'll speed up the process to minimize your wait. Flight is ridiculous, Harrington objected, but Reeves noted how pilot looked toward the nearest exit captain. We can do this softly or officially, Coleman. Warned your choice. Harrington's shoulders slumped somewhat fine, but the airline will hear as they led the pilot to the private viewing area. Reeves leaned down beside Titan, who had calmed down. Gently but alert, nice boy, he said. I trust you. Over his shoulder, Reeves saw Flight 862 to London. Heathrow depart. Delayed, he hoped he wouldn't commit his biggest career error. White private screening room to prevent the biggest calamity, walls a metal table, and 4 seats beneath harsh, fluorescent lights. Titan waited by the door while TS officer Marcus Wong meticulously compared Captain Harrington's qualifications. Wong said everything looks good. License and ID against database, Captain James Harrington, 15 years, American Airlines, certified and cleared. Harrington sat stiffly with arms folded when I requested access to my plane. We're burning gasoline on the tarmac after filing a flight plan. Wong opened Harrington's flight bag standard items while Reeves watched silently. Arrived flight manual, navigation charts, spare epaulets, reading glasses, energy bar, and travel toiletry kit. Nothing unusual, sir. Would you mind removing your jacket? Wong said, his tone professional. Clearly annoyed, Harrington placed his uniform jacket on the table, which is against procedure. Wong checked every pocket of the jacket for random inspection. While Reeves watched Titan, the dog didn't look away. Watched the pilot's every step to ensure operations. After utilizing her radio, Coleman stated they're positioning a backup pilot. Reeves felt doubt coming in as the confined room pressured him to decide within 15 minutes. Though he trusted Titan, the evidence was making him reconsider his judgment, Harrington said, tone softening. Maybe your dog smelled my cat on my clothes. I gave her medication this morning before leaving. The reasoning made sense. Canines sometimes alert to animal scents, especially pharmaceuticals with contraindicated chemicals. Ban Wong went through his inspection and found nothing. I think we can clear Captain Harrington. We'll note the incident and Titan. Reeves had worked with him long enough to know this wasn't just a rant. Persistence escalated when the dog indicated they were missing anything. Sir Reeves stated carefully, "Would you mind emptying your pants pockets too?" Harrington's countenance shifted so briefly, most would miss it. No. Wong examined a wallet, phone, and loose change on the table. Focused on the unmodified iPhone, Harrington asked for his possessions, seeming satisfied. Despite the room's cold temperature, Reeves saw a tiny sheen of sweat on the pilot's wrist. Reeves stated I'd subtly quickened the man's respiration. Want a full body scan and ion detector swab. Harrington froze. Coleman told her earlier that flight crews only act when there's reasonable suspicion. Skepticism disappearing as she noted the pilot's changing manner. I need to make. In a call to my union representative, Harrington said. Coleman nodded to Wong, who will forward your phone. Need to stay for the extra screening, Captain. The room had changed. An apparent false alert felt like the start of something much more dangerous as they prepared to transfer Harrington to advanced screening. Titan's behavior changed again. The shepherd pushed near. He focused on the uniform jacket on the table with laser precision. Rev claimed he's trying to tell us something specific, letting Titan approach the jacket. The dog sniffed carefully along the garment, then stopped at the collar, pawing with determination at the left lapel. This is absurd. Harrington shifted uncomfortably. The uniform is standard. By the airline, Reeves remembered a 6-month-old smuggler case. Sewed contraband inside garment seams, not visible by pat downs. Titan found it then too. I'd want to. Reeves picked up the jacket and lovingly stroked the collar and lapel. Titan mentioned some stitching on the left side, but nothing was immediately evident. Nearly subtly tighter, we need portable imaging. You're pulling up my stuff, he said. Coleman, which suggests electronic concealment. Harrington disputed his voice, rising. This is custom-tailored, worth over $100. Coleman paused, then said the agency would pay for damage if nothing was uncovered. The pilot, while waiting for the equipment, Reeves thought about Titan's history. The shepherd had found a memory card stashed in a hollowed-out pen, contained important evidence in a human trafficking case. Another time trace of explosive residue so small the lab missed it. I've worked with K9 units for 12 years, Reeves told Coleman. Titan made no mistakes and had a near-perfect detection rate. The imaging technician used a portable X-ray machine to scan the jacket as everyone watched. Attached display for a while, nothing untoward occurred as the scanner passed over. Something thin and flat appeared in the left lapel. Cloth almost undetectable to the naked sight. Coleman inquired, looking at the screen. The technician altered the settings to make it look like a microchip. All eyes were on Harrington, whose face was drained of color. Captain Coleman stated, "What's hiding in your uniform?" Harrington snapped, "I want a Titan relaxed after his task," and lawyer Reeves knelt. "He said you were right all along, Michael." Reeves hadn't always. In South Chicago, he trusted dogs like Titan after being bitten by a neighbor's Rottweiler at age 8, an encounter that made him scared of dogs for years by the time he joined the Chicago Police Department at 23. Overcame most his fear, but never thought he'd become a Can-9. He saw K9 in his 4th year on the force and changed. Policewoman Patrice Williams and her Belgian Malinois Rex chase a kidnapper through an industrial park to save a 6-year-old precision partnership, Silent Communication. Reeves applied for the K9 unit 3 months later because the handler-dog relationship touched him. Supervisor was surprised Reeves had a strong cybercrime reputation. Investigation, not field operations, but dog handler Bond called to him. "You sure about Mike?" his sergeant asked K9. "Work is a lifestyle. Dog goes home. Stays with you, depends on you." Reeves had answered more confidently than the Homeland Security K9 Training Center Titan. A 2-year-old washed-out shepherd was his partner in Texas. Of 2 earlier training efforts for excessive analytical thinking, not inability. Head trainer Martinez said most detection dogs alarm instantly when they encounter target scent. Explained Titan interrupts processes, verifies, notifies, slows him down certification examinations, but possibly more accurate in complex contexts. First weeks together were difficult. Reeves, yet learning handler skills, would get frustrated. Titan paused during detection exercises to distract, and the breakthrough occurred during training. Scenario where Titan overlooked hidden explosives and alerted security uncovered prescription drugs in an airport worker's suitcase that wasn't part of the exercise. Neglected to declare drugs with improvised explosives, chemicals. Martinez was amazed by his thoroughness. After that, Reeves modified his approach to give Titan time to process increased certification scores, drastically and quickly became the best at O'Hare's International Terminal. Team that spotted what others overlooked. Their biggest case came 8. When Titan notified Reeves about a diplomatic package outside their jurisdiction to search months earlier, he trusted his associate to delay the diplomatic courier, causing a minor diplomatic problem. Case resolved after inquiry uncovered fake diplomatic credentials and smuggled biological material. They were praised for following Titan's lead. Unaffected by politics or pressure, Reeves trusted the dog. Mantra when doubtful, under pressure, or questioned by superiors. These 3 words centered him, and Titan had never disappointed him as the Captain Harrington probe intensified. Reeves held on to that certainty despite the anxiety. Specialist TSA technical team worked methodically around them, cutting Captain Harrington's uniform lapel, stitching in the harsh light with precision examination lights. Harrington sat silently in a corner chair, handcuffed since demanding legal help. Representation 15 minutes earlier, warned senior technicians Sophia Lynn's co-worker removed a paper-thin electronic component. Lynn put the fabric without damaging it, quieting the space. Evidence container around the size of a postage stamp, but thinner than a credit card with copper lines and a tiny power supply evaluation. Coleman requested Lynn to magnify it. It's a custom electronic component. Commercial perhaps, remote activation, or triggering mechanism. We need to find out what device Reeves felt his pulse quicken for. Lynn connected the container to a sophisticated scanner, but whatever it is, your dog stopped it from getting on that plane. FBI agent Victor Captain James Harrington called Ramirez into the room after the gadget was found. Read on a tablet or James Harrington Kaiser, the pilot's head snapped up, eyes expanding, facial expression. Recognition just linked you to a Frankfurt 3 Interpol monitoring disappearance suspect. Harrington or Kaiser were impressed by Ramirez's work with extremist groups years ago. He desperately lunged toward the door while chained to the chair, carrying both of them. Before 2 officers wrestled him to the ground, he chewed the furniture several feet away. Down hard on a suicide pill, Ramirez yelled, "Obtain medical help." The ensuing minutes were mayhem as medical staff rushed in forcing. The victim was swiftly strapped to a gurney and rushed after opening his jaw and retrieving a partially disintegrated pill. Toward the airport's medical center, the paramedic said he wouldn't die. "He'll be unconscious for a while after the commotion settles," Lynn said. She pointed to her screen to ensure it's a bespoke activation trigger with fresh urgency. Intended to work with something else, not in his possessions, Ramirez resorted to Reeves need to search the plane promptly. American Airlines Flight 862 was full when the emergency occurred. Passengers exited onto the snowy tarmac after the evacuation order. They looked confused and frustrated as they were taken to a guarded terminal area. Specialized bomb detection crew swept Boeing 777 from nose to tail attention on the flight deck where Harrington would have been. Titan worked with the bomb. Sniffing dogs become meticulous and precise. Part attentively before traveling to the co-pilot seat below the standard cushion, Titan informed the technical team, who gently removed the cushion to reveal a usual element of the seat's mechanical structure, unless hidden in the adjusting mechanism. Another larger, more complicated remote-triggered explosive device. Gadget confirms bomb technician, after scanning sophisticated low-metal content, wouldn't standard pre-flight inspections indicated how badly Reeves inquired quietly the technician's expression was. Grimm would have broken the cockpit floor and destroyed crucial flight systems mid-air. His phone rang over the Atlantic after a quick talk. He turned to the pilot as up and talking. Captain James Harrington Kaiser, sitting in the hospital bed, with his wrist on the bars and face propped up, under bright medical illumination. 2 FBI agents guarded the door. Riz Coleman and Reeves entered the room to see Titan outside with another handler, as usual. Ramirez said without preamble that the bomb was identified and neutralized. Kaiser's eyes flashed between the cockpit's unknown number of calculation that his botched suicide attempt had damaged him physically. But mentally alert, I want immunity from federal terrorism charges. For attempting to destroy an aircraft, Ramirez said coldly, immunity isn't on. The table collaboration may keep you off death row. Stillness spread between them, captain and crew children, 243 passengers, until Coleman stepped in. Families. People who trusted you with their lives. Her words seemed to approach him, his shoulders slumping. This wasn't supposed to happen. Stated it was first merely intelligence collecting work. Ramirez put a recorder on the bedside table to begin. Kaiser found the story more complicated than expected. Had been a licensed pilot for 15 years before being recruited by a sophisticated terrorist network during a layover in Istanbul. Initial tasks were routine security protocol, oversight, observed vulnerability patterns, occasionally moving encrypted data disks between international cells. Ascension is a careful, methodical network, Kaiser said. Operations are planned years in advance, and Reeves drove Phase 1 of 3. Kaiser shot 3 transatlantic flights simultaneously, proving security. Vulnerabilities. My flight was the first test post 9/11 protocols case. The complete operational information revealed Kaiser's role delivered specially crafted bombs during a Dubai stopover 3 weeks ago, how he placed them during standard maintenance when pilots checked their assigned as uniforms triggering mechanisms would have activated when the jet reached cruising altitude over the Kaiser. Nodded as Ramirez instructed the other 2 pilots. Leaving Frankfurt to New York, Paris to Chicago in 48 hours, Coleman was on her phone with international authorities. There's more, Kaiser, he said, dumping Lakeside Tower Chicago apartment 512. A crew was sent to the address within an hour from the network's safe house. With photographs streaming Ramirez's protected tablets, the flat had become a sophisticated major airport operations center, designed security protocol documents, most shockingly, detailed explosive device specifications. Scrolling through the data, Ramirez noticed they're charting the entire international. Kaiser nodded to confirm Ascension is long game. Plane assaults were proof of concept. The real global air transportation infrastructure weaknesses are the target. Exploiting them relentlessly, Ramirez demanded the names of everyone involved. Kaiser outlined the network's operation in isolated cells, with little cross-knowledge. His only contact was the coordinator, a woman he'd met just twice at congested international terminals when surveillance was difficult. She'll be following news stories, Kaiser told. She'll attack if my flight doesn't go down. When something goes wrong, they activate contingency plans. Reeves recalled Titan's secondary operations center near the airport. Amazing detection abilities. Your uniform device made it. My dog. Noticed Kaiser appeared perplexed, which shouldn't have happened. The components were designed to evade chemical detection, but the former pilot shook his head when Reeves pressed him. Head then, your dog is either really lucky or very good because these devices were tested. Opposed 3 countries, K9 units leaving the hospital. Ramirez told Reeves to find the secondary operations center quickly. "Know someone who can help," Reeves said, looking toward the exit where he waited, his posture alert despite the hours since their morning patrol had become considerably more serious. Snow dropped in dense flakes. In the frigid weather, the tactical team formed clouds with their breath in the airport maintenance area. The specific booties were secured after Reeves checked Titan's protective vest again. Developed to shield dog paws from sharp items and chemicals, 5-building maintenance facility FBI Tactical Commander Wilson pointed to a tablet's blueprint based on Kaiser's limited information and mobile phone. "We believe Building C is our most likely target," Ramirez nodded. "We assume this coordinator doesn't realize we've identified the operation. However, she'll be COAs when Kaiser's airplane lands safely, so we may have evidence." Coleman said. Reeves kneeled near Titan. "Ready, boy," whispered. The shepherd's attentive posture was enough. The approach was silent and coordinated. 3 teams would enter concurrently from different access points, with Reeves and Titan joining the main entrance squad. They almost built a plain building to hold runway lighting. Titan's behavior's electrical systems validated their intellect. The shepherd's posture shifted, using his nose more deliberately. "Over time, he's got something," Reeves murmured into his radio as the tactical team surrounded the main entry on the 3 count. They broke the door and sprinted into the dimly lighted front office. Arranged maintenance logs, shift schedules, equipment manuals. Titan couldn't care less about the workplace and tugged Reeves toward an electrical door. His desperation was clear behind the door. A stairway led down to a sub-level, not on the airport's blueprints. The crew descended carefully. Tactical lights, illuminating the tiny passage at the bottom, revealed a normal maintenance room with the woman missing. "Stand beside laptop, hand over keyboard, FBI hands visible," Ramirez yelled. But the woman pressed a key and reached for something. In her jacket, the tactical team instantly tackled her. As others secured, the Titan growled and pulled Reeves toward a storage cabinet on the far wall. Wilson ordered inside. The cabinet, they found more specialized explosive devices, at least 20 each. She was starting a data collection identical to the aircraft's, but with different mounting configurations. "Erase," the technical specialist said, scanning the computer, "but we discovered it in time." The woman, identified as several extremist groups' unknown associate Elena Vov, kept quiet. She was handcuffed and carried away, but the room had everything needed for a trial. Coordinated strike on several aircraft gadgets at various assembly Saint security rotations, and, most dangerously, personnel files on dozens of potential flight crew recruits. Like Kaiser about today's flights, Ramirez realized looking through the data. This is a long-term operation, years in the planning. With the FBI evidence team documenting the incident, Reeves went Titan to every corner of the room to make sure nothing was. Shepard warned of missing in final area behind ventilation panel. Another little hard drive was tucked within one last insurance policy, Wilson noticed as they secured the drive outside emergency vehicles. Lynn, their lights alternate red and blue as snow falls around the maintenance area. Words spread across the command center as the severity of what they'd stopped sank in. One pilot, Coleman, watched as the last evidence was loaded for transport. "If your dog hadn't stopped him," Reeves nodded, rubbing Titan. Ears. "One flight becomes three successful attacks become a blueprint for dozens more." The shepherd looked up. Reeves stood with snow on his dark fur. Mission completed 2 days later. Airport Director Margaret Chen addressed the crowd in the administrative conference room. Team Titan sat by his side, neatly groomed and dressed. His formal K9 unit harness, thanks to Officer Reeves and Titan, who collaborated with TSA, FBI, and airport security, foiled a major terrorist plot. Chen sounded solemn. International authorities reported the successful detention of 2 extra pilots in Frankfurt, and Paris prevented a coordinated strike. Ramirez nodded to Reeves that secondary operations center evidence led to identifying 17 Ascension network operatives in 8 countries. Arrests are underway. Reeves one palm softly on Titan's head. For the shepherd, it was just another day at work. He didn't understand the pilot's significance because he used his amazing senses to protect mankind. He'd stopped, or the lives he'd rescued. He realized something was wrong and refused to back down until someone listened. Officer Reeves Chen concluded the DHS has requested you and Titan give consulting for their aviation security division on your ways, especially your faith in your partner's senses. Despite procedure saying otherwise, precisely the adaptive security thinking we need for the conference. Reeves knelt beside his partner as compliments were given. "Good boy," Titan muttered, resting his forehead on the shepherd's. Titan's tail wagged once. His dark eyes met Reeves with almost comprehension. Then his ears perked up. Moving on to the next patrol, the next peril only he can face, might detect together they returned to Terminal 3 to continue monitoring the thousands of travelers who would never know how close they came to calamity or that an officer saved them. Has Titan ever worked like Four Paws, who refused to let a pilot board his plane? A public location or airport? We want to learn about your experience. The comments below. Would you believe your pet's instincts about a person without explaining why? Handlers think their K9 partners can sense things people miss. Share your favorite animal story about preventing a calamity or saving lives. Tales we read every comment and may use your story in a future film. Tell us what more K9 heroes you want to learn about in future videos. What excites you about Titan's amazing Save at O? If Atari International Airport impressed you, subscribe so you never miss another wonderful video. Click the bell button to receive updates when we upload K9 Hero Story on our channel. Fresh stuff every Tuesday and Friday. Handler, K9 Bond Partners is one of the most extraordinary law enforcement partnerships, where trust, training, and instincts safeguard the public from risks we don't see. Like this video, if you think these brave dogs should be recognized for saving lives, your support helps us tell these remarkable stories. Share this video with friends. Working dogs alongside family who appreciates their remarkable talents may raise awareness of these four-legged heroes who serve with their human partners. Visit our The Amazing Story of Rex and other K9 stories are now playing, who chased a kidnapper during a blizzard, and Luna, who found a concealed human trafficking network at a border checkpoint. Sometimes heroes walk on four legs. We'll see you next video.